My rant at the end about lifestyle is there. You can get to that right away, and avoiding plastic. We're going to get to the yoga poses straight away. We're going to get to the breathing. This is my recipe for male fertility. This works. This will help. Let's get going. So a lot of these poses you're going to find in your normal garden variety yoga class. So a few of them we're going to talk about how you're going to personally modify them, no matter what the teacher says. And some of them are very normal and they're done the same. So the first one is just a simple forward fold, reaching out. We're going to grab the toes and bring the face towards the knees. So this might be hard and difficult because of the hamstrings, which mine are really tight. You take a strap and just wrap it around the feet, and then get up on that. We pull back a little bit and we forward fold. I want you to breathe once you're in the forward fold, just drawing the breath in through the nose and out through the nose. And we can take up to 10 breaths on this. Of course, if you're in a class, the teacher will decide how long you're going to do that. So the next pose we're going to do is a variation on Janu Sirsasana. So I'm going to start on this side, but we'll do both sides, but I'm going to start on this side so you can see it easier. We're going to bring the foot in against the thigh, right? And normally in Janu Sirsasana, we're forward folding as far as we can, bringing the face towards the leg. But in this version for male fertility, we want to see if we can get the toes, and then we're looking straight forward, right? So we're not collapsing all the way down into it. Again, we can use the strap if you want to have something to hold on to if you can't get the toes, or you can grab the shin if you don't have you can get a towel. Everyone has a belt or a towel. And we're going to stay here for a few breaths. Good, and you can do this up to 10 breaths. It's a very simple sequence we're going to talk about today. You can do them on your own without this video once you know what they are. So we always do both sides when one of the legs is bent. So just for the sake of that, we're going to come in and we're going to do again. And again, what's important is this leg is bent, the knee's coming down. You can hold it down. And we're looking straight forward, not folding down into the pose. Just straight up and straight forward and breathing. Again, if the knee's way up, you can stay like this, but facing straight forward, using the breath, drawing it in, pushing it out, in through the nose, out through the nose. Okay, the third one in the floor sequence here is Baddha Konasana, which is the soles of your feet together. Now your knees might be coming up. We want to think about pushing them down. But in this version, most people are going to teach a version. This is the A version. Most people are teaching the B version, which is pushing down and folding into it. We want to stay in A. The back is straight. So you see the back is a straight line up. And you'll see that the arms running down are straight lines in a bit of tension, because that tension is coming from the shoulders, which are pulling back and down. We're opening up through the knees, and we're sitting here and breathing. So again, you can do this for 10 breaths. If you're doing it in a class, you're doing it for however long the teacher is holding, but you're avoiding doing the folding in, which is what most people teach it as. Some people teach it as both A and B. We're not doing the B section, which is folding down with the face towards the toes, straight up all the way. So those are the three floor poses. We're going to do some upside down stuff now. So as much inversion work as you can do, or inversion, upside down. We're going to talk mostly about the two, well, I'm not going to say simple. And if they're too much for you, I want you to lay up against the wall with your feet up the wall instead, until you build up the endurance from a regular yoga practice or whatever else it takes, the strength or the balancing ability. The first one is shoulder stand. It's a great pose. And I'm going to do it for you here, And we can hold this up to 20 breaths. So we're going onto the shoulders and up with the hands on the back. Thumbs are best in the front. You can really sit your hip bone down into the hands. And then we are reaching straight up, right? And we're looking at the toes. And again, we're breathing and we're holding here. 10, 20 breaths, or if you're in a class, as long as the teacher holds it. This is a great pose. I would do it after you do the other poses. Good. So the next pose, you might want to do it against the wall. You might want to not do it until you build up time. But this upside down, the body upside down, is very helpful. So the most, in my opinion, the most simple version of headstand, Sirsasana, is the tripod headstand. So tripod is triangle. So the hands are, about the distance of the shoulders, and the top of the triangle is going to be your head. So when you put these hands down, they're right under the shoulders, right? So where's the head going to go? Almost as if the index finger is pointing up to the tip of the triangle. So we want the full crown of the head, not the forehead, the crown of the head. And you can even start out, and I'm going to go back a little bit so you can see better, but what I call midget headstand, the very smallest one. I'm going to get in trouble for that. But you can start there, and then we can come up. So I'll start there, and then you can see, and then we'll take it to the next level. So I like to step back, and then put the head down, and then walk the feet in. You can put the knees right up on the arms, right? This is nice. You can also come straight up. Good. So that straight up is going to take a lot of core strength. So for a while, you might want to do the first one, which is with the knees right on the back of the elbows, or only shoulder stand, or against the wall, laying down with your feet up the wall. So we have at least a small amount of the upside down, or what the yoga community would call inversion. All these poses are going to help with your fertility. It's a sperm count booster. So good, let's talk about some other things. So the next thing we're going to do is a breathing technique, which is super important. So I was taught this several different ways, and the last time I was in India, the teacher said, you're doing the arm thing wrong. So a lot of people are going to teach alt nostril. Well, they're all going to teach it with what is called the deer mudra. So with your hand, you want the pointing and swearing finger coming down, and the other pinkies up and the thumb out. This is actually kind of hard to do if you've never done it before. A lot of people teach it like this, right? My teacher in India said, you're breathing your breath down into your hand and then breathing the old garbage breath back. He said, we need to do it like this. So this knuckle on this first finger is going to go to the third eye, right? Then we're going to close the left nostrils with the pinkies. We're going to leave the thumb open for now. You see there? So we're going to take a breath in through the open nostril. Then we're going to close it, and we're going to maintain that breath. And then we're going to let it out through the finger side. Good. Then back in through this finger side. Close. Hold the breath out through the thumb side. The thumb is coming off the nose. We breathe back in through the nose side. We close. We breathe out through the finger side. You want to do this for like 3 minutes if you can. You're going to get a little bit lightheaded. You're going to get high, right? Very good. Great way. You can do it before the yoga, after the yoga, but you definitely want to do it 3 minutes. It may take time for you to build up to that 3 minutes because this may seem like too intense, like your nose is inflamed. But you want to do it. Alt nostril breathing. So this last thing is maybe most important. I don't know. So you can Google it. There's an article that was written in GQ magazine. I think it was over a year ago. It was called Zero Sperm Count. There's this giant study that says humanity's problem reproducing is growing and growing, and it is based mostly on plastic, right? So you got to start thinking, say to yourself every day, I'm a hippie, right? So plastic, right? Got to stop drinking your water out of a plastic bottle. So what are you going to do? If you can filter the water, filter it, put it in a glass bottle, put it in a glass pitcher, filter the water from your house. Hopefully your house isn't PVC coming through the water, because we have to be extreme with these things, because society is becoming more and more toxic with the plastics. The other thing is this is Indian food. This container is plastic. This is soup. This soup container has a thin wall of plastic all inside of it. All this plastic, we don't want the plastic. And speaking of being a hippie, when you're washing yourself, what kind of soap are you using? Is it soap with some scent, some kind of chemical? The Dr. Bronner stuff, no chemicals, much more natural. Switch to that. Stop putting chemical deodorant on you. Stop putting perfumes or whatever men call perfumes, cologne, that these chemicals are like we're rubbing our bodies with chemicals. What are you feeding yourself, right? So if you had a tiny little baby, would you take that tiny little baby to McDonald's? Would you take that tiny little baby to the bar to do 3 shots of Jack Daniels, right? Because maybe those things aren't a big deal, but if we're doing that and on top of it, we're ingesting all the plastics that are in society, our system is just like, it's breaking down. I mean, Google the article on GQ, we're having a hard time reproducing. So we really need to do the extra work. Thanks for listening. If you have any questions, hit me in the comments. Even if you want my email, I'll hit you with an email. But we got to think about what we're ingesting. The yoga poses that we did earlier is that slightly different way to approach them, whether you're in a class or whether you're doing them as an independent series just on your own, holding them for 10 breaths, except for the shoulder stand for 20 breaths. The headstand, if you can do it, 10 breaths maybe, less. Let's go less. Thanks a lot.